Okay, so today this is a layers tutorial that I'll be showing you. And in this layers tutorial, I'm going to show you how I went from this original image here, my background image, to this. And so using layers and layer masks are how I created this image. And basically, you'll notice here in this box, I have my layers and my layer masks. And the first thing I just want to point out is that this eye symbol here, this is your visibility icon. So by checking this, I can remove the view of my layers, right? And this just helps me track my progress. So if I want to go back to the original and see, well, what did I originally have? I would just uncheck it in order to remove the view of the layers. So it still keeps them there, you're not deleting anything. Secondly, I'd like to point out this little folder here. This is for groups. So folders are groups. And what that is, you can place multiple layers in a group. And this just helps with your organizing as you're going along. And so I'm going to drop that up. And you might be asking, okay, why do I need layers? So with layers, you can change colors selectively, you can create textures, do composite work, and this is an easy way for you to make changes to your image without permanently altering it. And then you can also, like I said, with the visibility and the folders, kind of toggle back and forth and see your changes as you make them. And that way you can kind of make a decision, oh, do I like this or not, without deleting anything or having to erase and lose work that you've done. So let's go ahead and begin. I'll just turn off the visibility here so we can start with the original background layer. There are a couple of places that you can go to start using these functions. The first would be your layer menu up here, and this gives you all of your different commands, right? The second would be to go over to Layer Box itself, and you can right click in Layer Box and get another menu with different commands. You also have some shortcut buttons down here for layer mask, new layer, and folders and such. And you also have keyboard shortcuts as well. So let me go ahead and start with, I'm going to duplicate the layer first because I want to do the part where I had changed her eyeshadow to that kind of pink color. So I'm going to right click and do duplicate layer on my background image, which is the original. And so you'll see an exact copy up here. And you can change the name of it when that menu comes up. I leave mine the same, but if you're working with maybe 30, 40 layers, you might want to rename them so that you have less confusion. But it will label it background copy. So I have my background copy here. And I'm going to change the entire copy pink. Now when I do that, it will not affect the background layer because I'm selected on the copy, the duplicate. So let me go up here. Hue and saturation, and again this is just for an example. Okay, so you see it's pink. However, when I uncheck my visibility, my original, the background, has remained the same. Now I could go File, Save As, and I could just save this as a JPEG, right, and have the entire thing pink, but I don't want the entire thing pink. I only want part of it. That's where I'm going to use the layer mask. So I have a shortcut key here that will give me a layer mask, or again I can go up to the menu, and I'm just going to go to the menu right now for this demonstration, and to layer mask. Now I have a choice here. I have reveal all or hide all, and what this is, reveal all will give you what's called a white layer mask and you can see everything. Hide all will give you what's called a black layer mask and it won't let you see what is underneath. So I'm going to do the hide all and work with a black layer mask. Now as you can see, the pink is gone, but it's really not. It's just underneath the black here. And this is kind of like if you've ever done in, I don't know, elementary school, they used to give us sheets of construction paper that had multiple colors on it, and then we would rub over that with a black oil pastel, and then you would etch off parts of the black oil pastel and see the colored construction paper underneath. That's kind of what this concept is. So instead of scratching it off, I'm going to use the paintbrush tool in order to remove parts of the black layer mask to see the pink underneath. And when I paint on the black layer mask, I first want to make sure I'm checked on it. You'll notice this little highlight around the edges. If I am clicked on the pink portion itself, you notice how it's highlighted now, what will happen is I'll be painting with a black paintbrush on the pink image, and I don't want that. So you want to make sure that you're always on the mask when you're using the brushes, otherwise you'll be damaging the image underneath. Secondly, I need to change my brush color. If I paint black on black, it's not going to make a change. If I change it to white, then that will remove the black pixels there. So go ahead and start painting on your mask. And I'm just doing a quickie job. So, a little bright, right? And it's not 100% perfect. So you might be thinking, okay, well, that looks a little clownish or whatnot. And it does, yes. But we can fix that. So I'm just going to zoom in here. And what you can do, and this is what's nice about the layer mask, if maybe, say you went too far, right, and I don't want her skin to be that orange color there, I can change my brush size in order to be a little more detailed. And all I need to do is flop it back to black and paint back in black, and that will fix the area that I accidentally went over too far with. So this way you don't need to keep doing undo or erasing anything. I can go back in and I can, you know, if I make a mistake, I just keep switching the brush color here and fix what I need. The other thing too, I can also reduce, I can kind of make this from white to kind of gray, and simply doing that is just lowering the opacity here. So now I'm not painting solid white, I'm kind of getting more of a gray as I paint, and that way it's not as bright and the change is more subtle. So you can make these changes with the opacity and then toggling back and forth between white and black in order to paint it in so it's more realistic. Another thing that you can do too, if you notice over in your layers box, there's also an opacity menu here. This will change the opacity of the mask itself. So see, if I go down to 0, it's the original blue, and if I raise it up, I'm slowly letting in a little bit of that color, right? And in this, I see I've got a little bit on her eyelashes, and I don't like that, and I want to fix that, so I'm going to take that out. And just go in, and now I haven't needed to do undo or erase anything, and if I screw that up, I can just go back and change my color to white and go back in and keep at it until I get it exactly how I want it. So there we go. Another thing you can do, if you hold down the Alt key on your keyboard and then click the mask, you can actually see the black and white areas. So I notice here, okay, this was on her skin and not in the eyeshadow area. So I can actually clean that up right now that I can see it better. Before it was harder for my eye to see that change. So again, if you hold down Alt and click on your layer mask, that lets you see just the black and white painting, right? Now I'm going to zoom back out, and again, it's super bright, so I will lower the opacity on this just a smidge. And that's just one thing you can do with your layer and layer mask. Now I had that textured background originally, right? So I'm going to reproduce that by adding a new layer, and I'm going to do that again. You can go to Layer, New, Layer, right? Or there's a shortcut key here, and this little icon here, that gives me a new layer. It will default to being transparent, so there's no color associated with it. Now I'm going to go and get one of my brushes, and originally I used the Texturemate brush for that, and I'm just going to pick a random one. And I'm going to size the brush a little bit bigger. And I'm going to make sure my opacity on the brush is at 100%, but again, you could play around with it. And I'm just going to sandwich that down. Now, of course, if you look at this, if I lower the opacity, she still has that texturing on her face, and I don't want that. So this is a good opportunity for me to use Layer Mask to remove the parts that I don't want to be visible. So I'm just changing up my brush here. and I'm going to go add a layer mask. This time I'm going to use the shortcut here, and it's this little button here. This will give me a white layer mask, so I can see everything and then use my paintbrush to etch away what I don't want. So again, because it's a white layer mask, I want to use the black paint on that to remove it. And here I go, right? Another thing you can do too, you can also use your selection tools and highlight areas and then paint over the highlighted areas as well. I'm just freehanding it for this tutorial. So anyway, I'm just going around and not doing a super accurate job just because it's demonstration. If I click Alt and on the layer mask, I can see there are spaces in the middle that I missed, and I can just go over it like this. And now I'm back again. Got a little bit of edge too far. But anyway, as you can see, I'm going to just keep at it till I get it where I like. And I can lower the opacity too. And basically now I have kind of like the original image texturing with this color. And again, if I want to put these into a group, what I would do is hold down my Shift key and select the layers that I want to group. And I can use the group shortcut key here, or I can go back to layer and I can pick from here group layers, keyboard shortcut Control G, however you want to go about it. And now I have these organized in a group. So now I can kind of do this. I can go, oh, which one do I like better, this one or that one, without having to uncheck the visibility on 4 different layers there. So anyway, I hope this was helpful and that this gives you some ideas of what you can do with your art. Again, now if I save this as a PSD file, all of these layers will be here, and if I want to go back and make other corrections to them, I haven't destroyed my original image and I don't have to keep repeating work or erasing anything. Alright, thanks for watching.